Hey everybody, this is Perch. We got a viewer question here. It says, "Hey Perch, I really enjoyed your channel. Enjoyed, past tense. What happened? Did I offend you? I'm now nervous. I like your sensible, well thought out approach to comics. By the way, one of the criticisms, it's always the one that cracks me up about the channel, is there's people who believe that really, and I've got news for you, all you people listening who regularly listen to the channel. Guess what? People believe that I use a sensible, well thought out approach, calm approach, to trick you into being racist or sexist or bigoted, whatever it happens to be. This complaint has come up from times like, well, Perch sounds well reasoned and sensible, and he makes compelling arguments, but it's to hide his racism. It's like, okay, let me play that back for you. So you're saying that I try and listen to all sides and think things through and be well reasoned as a secret plot for racism. To me, if you're making that argument, that's revealing maybe some more than you think about how you view racists. I don't know. People who are super racist that I've encountered tend to not have good, well thought out arguments. I'm just I'm just throwing it out there. They tend to not. They tend to sound like lunatics. People who are really racist, they do not sound like intelligent, well reasoned, well thought out people. I don't know. And for what it's worth, right now, I was thinking about this earlier today. In terms of my closest friends, the people who are closest to me, more of them are gay than straight. Of my closest friends right now, just for what it's worth. I didn't plan for that. I didn't go out like I need to get a proper ratio of gay to straight. I didn't. It just worked out that way. I go figure. And it's fine. What's weird is more of my close friends. If as long as we're at it, we might as well throw politics into this. Of my close friends, I have more of my straight friends are left leaning, and more of my gay friends are right leaning. The majority of my gay friends are Republicans. For what it's worth, I mean, I know, blows your mind, right? But there you go. As opposed to me, who hates every party altogether, and they all suck. Anyway, back to the mail. Sorry, I got a beef version. You often sound like a dad trying to get the kids to settle down and play nicely with each other on a long car ride. That fills me with sadness, but you're you're probably right. Can't I just be like a cool commentator once in a while? Like every now and then somebody's like, "Hey, your boy Zach he's very funny and he sounds cool and everything else," and it's like, and Perch is like a good old dad. Like, okay, God damn it! At least once before I die, can I be cool just once? Just for once, it's fine. I do feel that way, though. In fairness, with the comics industry, it often feels like I'm like, "Hey, don't make me come over there. You're not too old to have a spanking. Revort, I'm going to put you over my knee. You don't keep screwing up those variants. You're gonna be punished. I'm taking away your iPad anyway." My question is regarding comics with a message. Comics having a social message is nothing new and has been around for a very long time. That's true. Now, however, back in the day, comics with a social message was often done in order to get paid. So comics would take cash in order to actually progress and to do those social messages. It was often a sponsored event, or they were trying to do something with the Comics Code or whatever else. And I know the current theories are doing that for ESGs, but that is absurd. And one of these days, I have a friend. I have a friend who wants to do an interview, who actually works in ESGs and tax credits, and he's super boring. I'll say that to his face. I have said it. He's like the driest guy in the world. He's got zero sense of humor, like a finance lawyer combo in one. And he's agreed to come on and talk about ESGs and what they mean and how you apply for them. And it's like I know there's this narrative out there that if you just If you just put in like gays in a comic, that suddenly the government will give you ESG money. That is not how it works. That's not remotely how it works. But anyway, all the information's out there, by the way, if you go to actual, like, the sites where you apply for these things. But anyway, that's a video for another time. I'm anxious to do it, and then a bunch of people can come in and tell me how I'm wrong, and that a bunch of random people on the internet know what ESGs are and how they operate better than a actual finance lawyer and tax accountant who, work for multi-billion-dollar worldwide companies that do ESGs. But I'm sure the YouTuber knows more. That's why not. All right, sorry. Back to the mail. Sometimes, when I come across a comic, quote, with a message, I feel annoyed. Not because I agree or disagree. I feel like I'm being preached at or talked down to. They can feel like a bad morality skit by a high school drama class. That's the best analogy, by the way. That's exactly how they often feel. And well, anyway, let me finish the mail rather than intro. However, there are some instances where the creative team pulls it off and I am deeply moved. Absolutely. My question is, what makes a comic, quote, with a message work? Well, thank you very much for the mail. Easy answer to that. Talent. That's the answer. Talent. A talented writer, somebody who actually thinks about the story, how to land it, the characters involved, and how to properly communicate it, can take a social message, even a far right or a far left social message, something very political, and they can move you as a reader. They can make it work. But you have to tackle it not as I'm going to tell people my message, but rather I'm going to show people the message. And that's a difference, tell or show. Telling somebody, you get the feeling you're being preached at, like you identify it. You feel like you're getting a lecture. And you also get the feeling that the person writing the comic doesn't actually believe what they're saying. We have had lots of comics some very famous recent ones where they're talking about feminism and the rights of women, but then it turns out that the writer of the comic, Cameron Stewart? No, is that right? Hey, some of them are actually doing super dodgy things to women. And so when you go back and you read those comics today, and I recently went back and read some books, it doesn't ring true. It sounds like you're getting preached at. It sounds like you're being told the social message. And that's because you are. The writer doesn't believe in it. The writer's not practicing it. And the writer's not taking any effort to actually try and land the message. The writer's just basically saying, hey, I want to look good in front of my peers, or I want to get the virtue points for making this in a comic. So I'm just going to, do it in the laziest way possible. I'm not going to internalize the message. I'm not going to try and come up with a deeper meaning behind it that would actually resonate with the readers. I'm just going to tell them. In many cases, I don't think it's that hard. And here's the absolutely laughable, painful part. Back in the 90s, there was the Alpha Flight issue where North Star came out. And if you read that, and I did a video where I reviewed that comic. You can go look in the comic reviews and search under Alpha Flight, and you'll come right up. The issue where North Star decided to announce, come out of the closet and say, I am gay. And they were fighting over a baby infected with AIDS. And it was a goofy ass comic. Make no mistake about it. However, that comic still feels more thoughtful and more emotionally moving than several of the comics that are trying to represent people coming out today. I would argue, and I know he's a friend of some people, on the channel, the Cena Grace Iceman issue, where Iceman came out, had a lot less emotional resonance, a lot less strength as a comic than 1990s North Star. And the 90s North Star coming out was like classic 90s bombastic. At various points, North Star is like super all muscled up, and I think half of Alpha Flight had pouches all over their costumes. And I mean, like, it was 90s. It was the 90s of 90s comic. But still, there was some emotion because the writer did try and craft a story where there was something, worth fighting for, that North Star was going through this struggle, that I think the father of somebody who died of AIDS was angry and felt, there was some complexity to the story. I mean, it was goofy 90s complexity, but it was still more complex than what they do today. I think it's better if you're a writer and you want to tackle a social issue or a message is, the expression that they often use in tech and other places is go for a big swing, meaning it's better to try something where you're delivering a big powerful message and you're trying to make a statement and you're trying to put some emotion in there than play it safe and just have the characters become a 30-second GI Joe the more you know bumper at the end of the cartoon. I think it's, to me, if you can't tell the story well, if you can't deliver the social message well in a way that actually has a deeper meaning that can actually move the reader, don't. I would say that the cheap social messages, the ones that sound like they're just yelling at you or preaching at you, I would say those do more harm than good. They come across poorly. They trivialize the issue. They make it just, it feels flat and phony. Very, very flat and phony. So don't do that. It's better to actually get in there and try to have something with deeper meaning. Try to have something that is going to have real weight, real impact. If you can't do that, well, maybe don't write the comic in the first place, or maybe go, don't write comics until you can, figure that part out. Maybe you are not a writer. Not everybody is a storyteller. But I think social messages in comics can be powerful, but I also think it takes a ton more skill. I think it's much easier to have a battle of like Spider-Man's just hanging out and suddenly the Rhino comes in and, breaks into a bank and Spider-Man's got to stop him, but unfortunately, Spider-Man's out of web fluid. Now he's got to figure out a way to take him down, close up, even though Rhino has, more brute battering strength that he can throw at the problem. Like, do that story. Do an action story rather than a story about the environment or about, a moral issue or a social issue, or if you really want to do something that's going to touch on transgender rights, fine. But you're going to have to actually land the message. You're going to have to figure out a way to give it deeper meaning. If you're unable to do that, I would say don't. You're likely doing more harm to your cause than good. And if you care about the cause you're talking about, then you owe it to your cause to do it correctly. If you can't do it, don't try. Wait until you're able to pull it off. But I mean, to the writer of this letter, and thank you very much for writing it. It absolutely is true that you can have social messages in comics move you. It's possible. It's easy to do. It's why a lot of people point to the Midnighter Apollo homosexual relationship and say this is a good representation of two gay men getting married, and it was actually a touching moment when they got married because we've seen them through so much. And it's why several of the 4-page anthology stories in the Pride issues come across as hollow because there is no story. It's just hey, did you know transgender people deserve rights like other people? I didn't know that, but now I do. And now we'll be better people. I don't know. What good is that? I don't think it's any good. Anyway, thank you very much for the mail. Appreciate it very much. And I think it's worth understanding the difference. It's totally possible to do these kinds of messages in comics. Like anything, there's no shortcut. You got to do it well. Got to have some talent. Thanks for listening.